Hello, everybody. This is Angel Arts, and welcome to the final vlog number 20 of Mass Effect Revolution. And oh boy, this was a rough finale. And I wish I could say that none of my other finales of my other games have been rough, but they've all been very bittersweet. This one in particular. I will start by saying that if the final conflict was really tough on the players, yes, it was. And I purposely made the final one tough because I wanted to be very clear that this was a suicide mission of sorts, and the likelihood that everyone was going to survive should have been very slim. And a lot of it was really based on the decisions of where people placed people. Should we put them in the ARC? Should we put them in the field team? And then obviously all the different roles. So if it seemed like it was harsh, it was meant to be harsh. Because I don't pull punches during the final bosses or the final confrontations, and I only seem to be less and less easy on the players as the campaigns progress. So be careful, Harry Potter campaign, because Avada Kedavra is a nasty spell. That's all I'm gonna say. Avada Kedavra is a very nasty instant death spell.
Have one near you, because you might have just killed like people.
Yeah. Just to give people some background, with the way the nodules worked, the hit points of the nodules, I said, progressively were more and more, which is why the first few were easy to defeat. The first two, I think, had 150 hit points. The second two had 200. The next two over that had like 250, and then it went 350, and then 500, and then the last nodule was 1,000. And I think when Nathan defeated the last nodule, the total hit points was like 1,000, and it was like 1,148 hit points or something along those lines. So you guys were good. I was not expecting I knew the arc was going to have problems, but the roles just got really tough later on, and I tried to give you a second chance. I gave you a second chance.
I was very frustrated with the rolls I kept doing.
Yeah,
oh my god, I kept rolling ones.
It was 10. It's his fault.
Yeah,
it's yours.
All those 10s were 110 here and there was fine, but all the 10s added up. Like,
and then the last critical failure just it was very frustrating to me. And
I know,
man, I think I haven't cried that hard in a really long while.
Oh, heck for Kiwi.
All the hugs for Kiwi.
This was very a very powerful moment.
Yeah. People are probably wondering, I'm sure Astra was wondering, would it have made a difference if Gimmick was on the Ark? Sure, I'm sure that it would have made a difference on the Ark, but then I'm looking at all the hit points, all the damage you guys were taking, and how critical it was.
Gimmick just feels... Because every time something goes wrong, somehow Gimmick is related. It happened something like that when the Shadow Broker died. Because it was super related to Gimmick, so yeah, it's...
Yeah. Koalin had some heals. Koalin could have had some heals, but he was too busy like trying to keep those shields up. So keeping everybody healed and keeping the shields up would have been difficult.
Mm.
And if Gimmick had been on the Ark, then Jules probably wouldn't have been able to take that shot, even with my own thingy. So
true.
We use everything for that.
He got the guidance and the target. I did laugh a bit with the whole target painting thing, because Kurt have done that before.
Why didn't you tell me that sooner?
Here's a good question, actually. If we had managed to use all 3 PB&J and hit all with all 3 PB&J, would it have made it a little easier, or would it not have mattered?
So being able to hit him at all with the hitting, you only needed to hit him with a PMJ once, because the PB&J lasts for like 10 minutes or something, or a minute. I don't remember what it was. Like enough for you guys to do what you needed to do. So adding more PB&J would have just extended the 1 minute, but you only had a 1 minute window, so it wouldn't have mattered. But what I would have done is if you had gotten the PB&J hit successfully the first try, then you would have had more time. You would have had 2 more extra rounds, like 1 more extra round if you got it in the second try, or 2 extra rounds if you got it in the first try.
Yeah. What
Is
round?
that 12 that we already had, or is that just you're taking less rounds away from us?
I'm sorry?
Is that you're giving us more rounds to work with because we had 12 as a base?
I would have given you more rounds, because if you remember, I took away 2 rounds because the debris slowed you down, since you only had 65% of the geth left, because keeping the geth up was pretty critical. But
it was my rules that caused us to lose so much.
It was who are you controlling?
I was controlling Aya, so yeah.
Yeah, it was Aya's fault.
Literally all the time, like every roll.
So you could, but like best case scenario, you could have had an extra 2. You would have had an extra 2 rounds, so you could have had 14 rounds to do anything. Well, the rounds wouldn't have mattered. Yes, it would have, because then
would have left more time for the arc to leave.
The sun would not have gotten as large as it did
as quickly,
and therefore the DCs wouldn't have been as high. So that's what happened with that.
Even if we had 1 extra round, we probably would have made it out.
If you had 1 extra round, then you probably would have rolled, and the DCs would not have been as high as they were. And again, like, it also wouldn't have been that big of a deal, except for the fact that unfortunately Stan's rolls were not so great. So you're getting hit by these asteroids because he wasn't able to shoot them. So your shields were going down. I feel like if Stan had had 2 better rounds, then you guys would have been fine.
Yeah, because I think I rolled 2 critical fails.
Yeah, you rolled 2.
I rolled 2 critical fails with Stan.
Critical fails really hurt a lot, and I couldn't hand wave.
I kept joking, all of the session I kept joking I keep rolling really bad, but I never rolled ones. Like, I really rarely rolled ones apart from the first session, and it's like the entire universe decided to go, oh yeah, you roll bad, huh? Then you're gonna roll bad today.
I think it's funny how like 4 critical successes, and that's the only reason we probably got all these nodes destroyed.
No, I mean that Nathan killed everything in there. If Nathan wasn't there, yeah, it was bad.
Oh yeah, it would have taken forever.
The other option, of course, was that the Ark aborts the mission and leaves. So that would have been the other option, is if I was able to like roleplay, because I tried to take down each person's vote. Like, Sarah wanted to leave, Pip wanted to leave, Chris wanted to leave, Alan stay, Stan stay, Vetra stay. It all came down to the Vangara, and I think the Angara would have wanted to stay. But if they decided to leave, then now Plan A would not have succeeded, and so what would have happened afterwards is you would have joined Shai Slazine at the Shadow Broco Council, and now you have to make a decision: are we going to blow up the Vorcha homeworld? And as I alluded to, Zadrari would have not been happy with that at all. She would have been like, F the universe and reality. She's like, either we all survive or nobody at all. And you would have had to basically cut her down if you wanted to like insist on blowing up Heshtak. So that would not have been a very fun experience either.
What would have happened otherwise? Like, just us going, oh yeah, you're right, Zadrari, and just like not do anything. If the world collapses, what would have happened?
The world would collapse, and since I wasn't planning on doing a Mass Effect 3, I was okay with that if the world collapsed.
So that would have been Aya, Akara, I'm trying to think of all the other NPCs. Salo,
Anar.
Anar, and then all of our group dead. So that would have been
Oh,
9 of your
Salo.
PCs dead.
Salo, yeah.
So yeah, sorry, because I got I got killed. Anar's friend.
Chris.
Oh, yeah.
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 Chris
We're
is
gonna
Whenever
get
we
our,
go.
we're gonna
Expecting
get
the
our
first
butts
mission
kicked in the
right
we're gonna get
now.
our butts kicked
All
in
I-
the
all I want
Infinity
to
War
point out-
campaign.
All that I'm going to say here is I don't think anyone could take Nathan on.
Okay, so I'm going to stand behind Nathan.
All of reality would have been destroyed, but Nathan would have survived.
Yeah.
Like, everything.
You're right.
But Nathan
Sit
still.
there just chilling out in the void.
Nathan becomes the maker, and
Yeah.
he will rebuild the Red Galaxy again from scratch.
In his
He will
own
become-
full visage.
Yes, he will form his own golden city and become the maker of that new universe.
Oh my god. Why is that so funny in your head? Nathan Maker.
Yes, that would have been the epilogue.
Yeah.
There, to answer your question, that would have been the epilogue. Is Nathan would become the
It
new
would be
maker,
5 minutes of everyone's dead but Nathan, and now he's the maker.
and now he's
Oh,
the
yeah.
maker of the Red
I
Galaxy.
swear, I'm gonna have a whole month of just going, hey, I want to draw, and I open my sketchbook and I see Pip, and I'm going to be like, I'm going to have a whole month of that, I swear. Because it was the same with Cassage. Like, I had doodled Cassage everywhere in my notebook, and I just open it, and every time I open the page with them on it, and I'm like, I'm sorry.
I'm also really curious about how like people are going to react to Nathan getting these names tattooed on his arms now, because he's getting people's names tattooed on him. Because he's got his arm on his chest. He's gonna have like Vetronix and Stan and Kasash Desen and who else? Pip. What's Pip? Coggle Pip. And like everyone's name just down his arm. And people are gonna be like, why do you have that there? And he's just, he's gonna be like, well, I was involved in this thing to save the galaxy. I funded the ship to go and figure out how to fix this, and unfortunately the people I hired were killed. So it's going to be really painful for him.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Especially going, like, having to lie about someone's, or at least lie by omission is going to be very hard for Vito, because he cannot lie. So
Also, I just want to point out here, Dee is going to have to tell Sid what happened to Vetra.
because that's kind of the thing. Like, that's what I
Sid-
wanted to have Vito point out, because but Vito doesn't know about that. That's the thing, because he was still down there swimming with Ojavi when Dia and Vatra met, so Vito wouldn't have known about that. But like Vito, like, hadn't he known, he probably would have went like, so what? Your own aunt will not get to know what happened to your mother. So, but
Yeah, like that's
yeah,
something that I also would point out is that Dia still has more family than Nathan. Nathan has none anymore. They're all dead. Well,
or
dead.
in Andromeda.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Dia still has Sid, and I mean, possibly Arya. But
Yeah.
Dia still has his adopted father.
Yeah.
Mm.
Maybe the situation will allow Dia to learn that, family actually means something. Like that she should try and have a relationship with her dad now that Alan is also dead. So,
I don't think Dia
maybe
will.
there's something there.
Do you think
Maybe.
Dia
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. Like, I'll like anything's possible. For all we know, like we could all in our epilogue stuff, and we could record them all separately. And next thing you know, we watch them, and Dia mentions how like she got into, a really big fight with her dad, a really heated argument, and at the end of it all, they made up and they realized that they need to be a family together. And she met up with Sid. Can't pronounce his full name.
Oh my god. Yeah, because
Sid.
in my head it was like Sid Honest, but it was the one dude from Mass Effect 2, so it's not.
Yeah. So Sid is like,
Sidera.
also in there somewhere as like an estranged aunt or something. So
why not? No, probably not. But yeah, uh, Vito, like compared to some people, hasn't lost as much. I mean, I guess in a way he lost a son, but he hasn't lost as much as Dia and Nathan have. So
I mean, you lost a lot of friends, and we've all lost a lot of friends here.
yeah,
So, Nathan would have considered everyone a friend, even though if Kasaj had been alive, and this is an interesting fact that I decided on, that if Kasaj had been alive and Nathan would have learned, he would have asked Kasaj if he had known, and depending on how that would have went, like if Kasaj say I don't know, and either that was the truth or Nathan couldn't incite his way into knowing that was the truth or not, he'd believe Kasaj, but ask him why his people felt this was a viable option. Why did they not figure out? It would have been an interesting conversation for those two to have, especially after all the stuff that we've come to know about Kasaj.
Yeah. Well, the question I guess I have then, now that you brought that up, if we were to say that the Ark did not stay and escaped, and you guys weren't able to succeed with Plan A and we're discussing Plan B, what would each of your individual characters say about blowing up the Hishtak system or not? What would you guys decided individually?
I think Vito, like ultimately, would have gone with the fact that the whole reality would be gone, but I think he would rather like try to at least evacuate the planet, evacuate the system at the very least, even though he knows that there isn't enough time for that.
So ultimately, you would blow up the system. Your vote would be to blow up the system.
Yeah.
When you were saying who was voting to stay or leave, and you mentioned that people would have loved to go away, I was like, oh, I hope that that they go away, that they escape, because I don't want people to die. Like I'm not being into, like, not wanting to be there.
So were you were surprised that Pip wanted to leave? That Pip
Yeah.
wanted to escape?
Oh, I think I talked before with her, and she told me that. Well, she told Gimmick that she wanted to, like, she wanted to still be part of this and see it through. Like when Gimmick was at the house, and well, when that moment came, I was like, oh no, please don't die. And well, yeah, but
It was a very powerful moment, I think, but the way you said it, Park, like just she wants to leave. And like very softly, and we all went like, "Oh no!"
oh no,
Yeah.
We started understanding
She
what was
wants to
happening
leave.
there.
Yeah. Like I think she knew the right thing was to stay, but deep down her gut was telling her to leave, to vote to leave. And as much as I hate to say it, part of that is I don't want to call it
oh no.
I don't want to call it like
Cowardice.
Ralloy. I'm sorry.
Cowardice.
Yeah, I don't want to call it Ralloy cowardice, but I just remembered what Terves decided to do, like when the Reapers came.
Yeah, the Reaper conflict.
They were like, peace out. Like you guys. I don't think it was to that degree, but it was like a moment of. It was a moment of human or Ralloy weakness. It was a moment of Ralloy weakness where her gut was telling her to flee versus fight.
I mean, I would rather call it like legitimate fear because it makes sense. Like you're in a situation where you know you're not gonna make it out.
She could not hide behind her her blissfully naive nature at that moment. Like she knew what that meant and she was legitimately scared.
Mm-hmm. I don't think anyone could ever hold that against her, though. I mean, I'm pretty sure if any of us were in the same situation, it'd be the same. We'd all be terrified of the fact that we're all about to die.
But yeah,
Also, to
and then
confirm, Hashtag has 6 to 9 billion people on it because there's no real consensus of their population.
Because
So
it's
you
still
could
fairly well. I don't know 10 years in the future, but at the time of
that's
the
also
Mass Effect
pre-invasion
series,
numbers. So yeah, that is also pre-invasion numbers. But Vorcha breed quickly, so it could
Yeah.
be like to that number again.
like 10 years in the future, there's also the fact that I mean, well, during the Mass Effect series, Heshtok is very I'd say it's not like a civilized kind of place. Like there's no cities, there's no it's still a very wild environment because Vorcha traditionally don't really have all that much of a society going on.
yeah,
But it's it still makes me laugh about reading whatever happens in during the Reaper conflict that essentially the Reapers burned out like literally all of the plant matter on the planet, leaving it that there's no oxygen anymore, and Vorcha just evolved to not breathe.
oh, okay.
That's just the way Vorcha are. They evolve like very fast, so it's just imagining the Reaper being like, oh well, they just don't die.
It was very slowly back away from the planet. Like, nope.
Yep. They actually, I think, if I remember well from the wiki or the codex, they actually left the planet alone because they were like, well, they're not dying. But that's also why they used a lot of, I guess, Vorcha engineers making the crucible because there was a lot of radiation and like involved in the making of it, and like they were like, well, Vorcha can sustain radiation, so you can handle the engineering part. We're gonna handle the rest.
All in all, though, that was probably the most emotional I've been in. I think in this entire campaign. Like there were several times where I was about to lose it. Like when when Ark was telling us that everyone was dying and what they were doing in their last moments, and the talking with Koalin got me too. Like that really got me.
Yeah,
Nathan
the last
admitted
moments.
his own
Yeah.
fault. You know,
because talking makes you think about it.
yeah. Like
I guess you could definitely tell that I was bawling my eyes out when I was talking about like the essentially like their last moments, and I'm just like,
oh no,
I'm actually bawling my eyes out.
Yeah. And I also won't deny
it's great because it definitely shows that we've got attached to these characters to the point of crying, like legitimately feeling emotional pain over this. So thanks, Ark. You really made this campaign like.
Also,
you really made us a part of this campaign. That's.
Yeah.
You gave Mech what he wanted.
Yeah. It's also hilarious how Koalin was like, you should join the Justicars. Just try and recruit him real quick. Like, might as well see what I can do.
It helps to control your anger management.
Mikhail just said in the Revolution chat that he's crying now. So it's finally got him.
I have no pleasure. I have legitimately no pleasure killing off NPCs, and when you asked me can we roll a second time internally, I was like, thank God they asked me to roll a second time, because like, please roll better.
Real quick, like, hey, since we rolled before we made a decision, can we roll again?
Right.
Like,
right.
Yeah, and I was like, internally, I was like, I don't want to roll. I know I'm gonna fuck it up, and I rolled the one. Like, it was so.
Yeah. I was like, I gave you guys 2 chances. I tried really hard.
I
tried really hard to give you more than 1 chance, and it just wasn't working. And then I have to watch the video again. But when I saw the results of the second roll, it's like I immediately covered my eyes. Because like, oh god.
No.
It's just like when I guess you start talking about like everyone like doing their thing, and I'm like, I think like I finally like understanding what's happening. And I cry a lot. I'm a very emotional person, but this is I haven't cried like that in a while, so
But what broke my heart the most is when I really put myself in each of those characters' shoes. I wanted, because that's something that you see in movies all the time, I wanted all of them to be very heroic about going out, but not all of them were. Like, Chris left this world legitimately, like, scared and frightened, and not really accepting that the end was the end. And Stan left the world blaming himself, wishing he did better. So he did not leave this world proud of himself at all. He left this world feeling like a failure. And that's what really, really, like, hurt me.
yeah,
I
that's got to me too.
I wanted people like Stan to leave this world feeling like they did the best they could, but with all the roles that unfortunately Stan made, that wasn't very realistic. So I had to, like, stay in character and think, no, that's not how Stan would leave this world, unfortunately. Like, the tragedy is he would leave this world blaming himself that he didn't do what he was supposed to do to be a real hero. And that's what really broke my heart the most, I think. I miss Stan.
5 minutes, Hark.
I'm sorry.
5 minutes.
I think I'm just
Supernova.
gonna rewatch.
God damn it.
I'm gonna rewatch Session 2, I think, because it's just like when Vito's telling his tale and Pip is I'm like, but did you die? It was so funny.
It's not so funny anymore.
It's just sad.
I got Vito to sing, kind of.
Yeah, that's kind of funny because you were like, maybe sing a lullaby, and I'm like, I know where you're getting at, Astra.
Everybody's sung in this campaign, Hark. How do you feel? You feel good now?
No, I don't feel good at all.
But do you feel good about that particular fact?
I feel good about the songs. Yes, yes.
I
feel
have-
good about the songs.
I
In
have
general, I don't feel good.
I have a confession to make.
Uh-huh.
Had Vito maybe not survived this, I would probably have him hum the song to himself.
Oh,
Oh man.
before, yeah.
Before, because I think this is a song that kind of impacted his childhood in a way, or at least the lullaby kind of thing. So I would definitely, like, had he not survived, and I got very close at the end because the last attack left me with 2 HP. So, yeah.
Oh, then it was correct at healing you before.
I would not have survived that at all because I think after a certain number of negatives, I think at some point you're like, yeah, it's probably not realistic to have survived that. But yeah, I would have had Vito, I guess, hum that song under his breath as he lets, I guess, peace take him. Because I guess it just, think about it. There's something so I don't know how to find the word
Powerful?
for it, but powerful about that kind of thing in particular. That when I guess it's not really a cliche because it doesn't happen all that often, but like it's like if you had Morden sing in Mass Effect 2, he sings as he sacrifices himself in Mass Effect 3, and it was so powerful to me that I was like, yeah, if something had happened to Vito today, I was totally prepared to have that lullaby happen. But then you were like,
yeah, coming up to
maybe sing a lullaby before me. So, that was my confession.
Yeah. I'm happy then that. Well, the other thing was that you were trying to write a letter, and I was like, "Why? You can talk with him. Talk with him."
Yeah, but
So yeah.
I mean, it's more Vito's way of going with things, I guess, because he thinks like words work better when they're written down than when I guess, or I guess it's just me because I can't word things for like to save my life, because English is hard to me, and sometimes I have good days where like I'm fluent and everything, and other times I have bad days where I'm like, what's the word for yellow? Like, and I guess today was kind of a bad day because I kept forgetting my words, and I was like, I want to speak, but I don't know what to say.
Nathan would have said 4 very simple words. I'll see you soon, Mom.
Why? This is so painful.
Well, then it was good that he didn't die.
Yes.
Oh, and Nathan would have hugged Chris as well. He would have hugged Chris in his last moments if they had been on the ship together. Actually, like, I just need alcohol. Where's the alcohol?
Wizarding World campaign, you know what you signed up
Yeah,
for.
watch out.
Everyone in the Wizarding World campaign, because it never fails. Every single time I do a campaign and I give people that questionnaire, the questionnaire that every fills out, I always get at least 1 or 2 people saying, I want to have the feels.
Oh yeah.
I want my character's spirit to be crushed.
I mean,
So they
I was
ask
like,
for it.
I
It's like,
think in my questionnaire I actually have like score through, like as a joke, 'cause, like when you said, "What's your goal towards your character?" and I said I want Vito to suffer, but I scored through that.
no.
And I put something
Yeah.
else. He suffered in this campaign. Thank you.
Yeah. Every single finale to a campaign has been bittersweet. So leave that as a warning to anyone who decides to audition for future campaigns. This is what you're signing up for.
Well, the first Mass Effect campaign was kind of nice as an ending.
I mean,
It was
Quinn
relatively
died.
nice.
Well, but he
Someone
jumped
died.
inside the Sovereign.
One person died compared to
Yeah.
what? 7?
Yeah.
And then all the Angar. So
He still died.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I don't want to.
very well. Like in game.
I don't want to get into the details of the endings of the other campaigns, but the players from those campaigns can tell you that they were bittersweet.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It scales up as it goes. So I hope that you don't TPK the next campaign.
I hope not. Well, I told the players one of the things in their questionnaires is, if your character does not survive Act 1, tell me about your backup character. All of them had to tell me what their backup character was, because I wanted to be very clear that your character might not survive Act 1. Be prepared for that, and don't be angry at me if that happens, because that is a possibility. Please understand that.
Yeah.
Well,
I had started preparing my backup character as of session 2, because I don't know if you remember, but I do. But Vito kind of literally went in the negatives, being attacked by a Varen.
I also want to point out that if Nathan had died in Trebia, if he had not went to the Citadel to visit Vito and Solaric, my new character wouldn't have been able to do nearly as much damage as him, so he probably would have lost his mission. Just contest.
So thank Vito, guys.
If that had happened, Nathan wouldn't I would have made a character entirely built differently, and we wouldn't have had this massive damage dealer. We probably also wouldn't have had nearly as much fun flirting with everyone. So
yeah.
Yeah, like we can't forget the game. It was everything was fun too. You know, there was a lot of fun.
I am glad that the main cast survived, because
Yay.
that doesn't always happen. So good on you all. Good on you. You get to be there for the crossover. Yay.
Yay! Mech and I thought that Logan and Nathan would get together. Don't think that's happening anymore.
Probably not.
Yeah.
That's really funny though, because I thought that Logan and Nathan would get along really well. They didn't get along as well as I thought they would.
No.
You never know. You never know what happens.
I do remember in the Discord, like, one of the things you said, like, earlier in the campaign, like, I think it was after session 1, and we were like, oh yeah, a lot of people are into Nathan. And then and then you were like, yeah, I know, right? Except Vito, because Vito's married. And I'm like, yeah. But like rewatching that now, I'm like, sorry, buddy.
It's a little spicy later on, if you know what I'm saying.
I didn't expect one relationship I did not expect was Koalyn and Nathan, honestly. I didn't see that. I thought it was going to be more Koalyn and Gimmick. Because Koalyn was actually Astra's character.
Yeah.
I didn't make up Koalyn. That was all Astra, and I just loved the concept so much that I just went with
Pretty
it.
cool concept.
So, I guess my question is, would Nathan ever see Koalyn as more than just a brother? I'm curious.
I think I actually asked Mikey that at some point, because I was like, honestly, I could see something happen there, but
I don't know what Mikey feels about that.
Nathan has previous experience with Volus lovers, shall we say.
Really? He has? Oh.
While it's a slightly more awkward thing, like it's even more awkward than Quarians because of the size difference and the pressure difference. Because Quarians, they live in a single, one atmosphere. So you can take off the suit, and as long as there's not, a ton of pressure, you need to be in a sterilized room, etc., etc. It's a lot easier to get with conceptually. That's not a big deal for him though, because he's stinking rich. So he can just design a room.
you could definitely have the sex dungeon going on.
Yeah. They have to actually have a sex dungeon, otherwise it just won't work. Essentially,
It's just a dungeon.
Yeah, literally just a dungeon. But I think that if things had panned out differently, I wouldn't have been surprised if Nathan would have ended up with just Koalyn. Yeah.
Really?
I think Nathan and Koalyn could have been a very happy couple, possibly. But, in this situation, he has family. Like, his only real, what he would view as some of his few family members that he has, and one of them is Koalyn.
So I think out of necessity, he kind of needs Koalyn to be more of a family figure than anything else.
Yeah,
it's sounding like.
Yeah, he needs Koalyn to be his shoulder he can rely on, and he feels Koalyn can rely on him as well.
Yes, I think that makes total sense. But if Nathan didn't need that from someone, then I do think that
yeah, definitely it could have happened.
I think that they balance each other very well. The two characters balance each other.
Copy kind of thing.
One thing that was nice to see, like, in this campaign was the NPCs also growing to like each other, because, like I was saying in the chat on the side, Zadrari went from, oh my god, we are not keeping that bug, to Stan was my favorite.
Yes.
She actually learned to love him, and
you saw the progress, because first it was what you just said, then she called Stan cute. There was the one moment, and that was on purpose on my part too. I said it just to see if somebody would call her on that, and somebody did. They're like, you called him cute. Well, he's a little cute there, and so that was very interesting.
That was great to see. There's just so much about this group that I've learned to love, like all of the relationships and the jokes and the I'm gonna miss this.
Constant shipping.
The constant shipping too.
Well, I will say though that it could have been worse. And to be quite honest, the decision you had to make at the end was significantly easier than it could have been.
Oh, yeah.
I think that if things had played out in a different way, you would have had a much harder decision to make. So in this, I think it could have been way worse. So, but I understand that it's still painful, nevertheless. So, all right. So for those of you who are watching, there is one more episode left, which is going to be the epilogue, and we will find out once and for all how everything gets tied up at the end and what is in store for these characters moving forward. So thank you guys again for doing this vlog. This is completely volunteer and optional, but for the viewers who decide to watch it, I hope that they find it fun and interesting and get a lot more insight of what our thoughts were out of character. And we'll see you guys in the epilogue. So,
I guess